Boom. All right. All right. How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to This and That. I am your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. Today, we're supposed to be talking about those mixed gender sports. So before we get started with the show, I want you guys to make sure that you like and subscribe. Make sure you join the membership. Those of you that are here on TikTok, we have our goal. We're trying to get to at least 10,000, but we need to cover 100,000 to get our stream key. And also, we have our membership for YouTube over here on the bottom right side. If you click that link, it takes you over to YouTube. Brings you back though, but you subscribe to the YouTube platform so that you are able to get all of the insight on our podcast, because we are streaming live on multiple platforms: YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, other such. So we strongly recommend that you come to the podcast and take a look at what we got going on in the backfield. If you join the membership, we have members only stuff that you guys can benefit from. The members only shows that we could talk about a dark live streams, those conflictual conversations that people are not readily able to talk about on the regular live streams. You can do those in the membership. So just think about that when you guys are clicking that like button, that follow button. For those of you that are on TikTok right now, we've got the ability for you guys to jump in if you like by hitting the invite request. And as long as you're over the age of 18, I throw you on up in here because this is an adult platform. There is a little bit of adult language allowed, but we still got to maintain those community guidelines to some degree. So you'll see that on your screen somewhere now. The rest of you guys that are on StreamYard, you guys have the ability to click the link that is in the comment section right now. And if you approve that mic, approve the camera, it brings you up onto StreamYard, and you'll be able to be in my green room, confirm that you're over the age of 18. And you'll be brought right onto the show, be able to see each other in real time, talk in real time, and be able to have our open forum, open-minded debates where we will be able to analyze the topics of discussion and any other topics of discussion that we hash out along the way. First thing we're going to be talking about right now is the mixed gender sports. We have the mixed gender wrestling. How you doing, Kiki? Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so first we got going on is some mixed gender sports, and wrestling was one of the ones that we started the topic with, but mixed gender sports. And the reason why we're talking about mixed gender sports is because on this podcast we have on a regular basis that we talk about the equality or the inequality that exists between the genders. And I have had on the show plenty of times some of the ladies that believe that it is equal, even though the men are being oppressed and the men recognize the oppression from the overly masculine women. And while we're not going to really do much about it, the change is to change how we choose women so that the women that are unfavorable to our expectations are no longer negatively impacting our expectations, as opposed to sitting here demanding that women change. We're just saying, nope, we're going to put our foot down and say, yeah, we're just not going to allow that type of behavior. You come on too strong, ladies, you're going to get shut down. But if you think that you're strong, now we have the mixed gender sports. There have been some videos out there on social media recently where ladies have been out there wrestling with the men, boxing with the men, football, soccer, swimming sports. I find it entertaining that with the Olympics that they complained about a transgender female claimed to be female because of too much testosterone, said it was an unfair advantage. But for some reason, women are equal to men, allegedly, everywhere until athleticism comes into play. And then there's got to be some type of bias where if you're a man, you're not equal anymore. Like, I don't get it. If you're equal across the board, you're equal. That's what I say. If you're not equal across the board, then you're not equal. So try to hash out the difference between the two. But because of the mixed gender sports, when they're eliminating bias, typically wrestling is one of the ones that they start talking about how the girls and the boys can do it together. But there's like advantages and disadvantages to that. Well, I want to see if I can find some advantages to that, but I can definitely tell you that there are some disadvantages to that. And when we at least specifically talk about the mixed gender wrestling, we've seen in recent times, especially you guys on TikTok have seen in recent times, some of these genders that are they they're really getting it in. You've got the middle school and looks like junior high, high school teams that are power slamming the girls, that are body slamming the girls, and you got the girls that are out there putting boys in the rear naked chokes and choking them out and making them tap, and it's a very entertaining thing to see. But then when can there be too much aggression between a male and female participant in a wrestling match, where had it been two males, it would just be healthy athletic behavior? What do you guys think about that? Do you guys believe that guys and girls should be wrestling one another and getting grappled up and thrown and flipped and all this other stuff in wrestling? Or do you believe that the women should just fight the women and the men should just fight the men? While you guys think about your decisions, I want to make sure that you understand. How you doing, Red Boy? Good to see you today. Bro, you missed so much stuff yesterday. My goodness. They were on both sides of the fence, bro. We had people in here asking questions from TikTok, people in here asking questions from YouTube. They're going all up the wall about hypotheticals that were completely off the topic. We were trying to talk about Halloween, and they were talking about paganism and feminism and Project 2025 and the Diddy thing and what happened with Jada Pinkett, and they were all over the place, bro. Like the topic was so far off from linear. They even started trying to speculate as to whether or not the CIA was corrupt. I'm like, bro, I don't work for the CIA, so I can't really talk about that. But I know that they were going in. But I did take some time and lay some common sense stuff down. Made a lot of shorts out of it. Going to be putting those up soon, so you'll see those on the YouTube channel whenever you get time to see those shorts over the next few days. I'm going to be uploading those after the show today. But yeah, that was a sight to see, because you thought we were just going to be talking about like, oh, what's good about Halloween. Man, we ended up talking about like the true ideology of Santa Claus and why are we allowing one person to run up in our house, break into our house and drop stuff off, and another person break into our house and run off with the stuff that the first person dropped off. Like, and why is one better than the other? Like, your house is violated twice in a night, and you're only disappointed because the stuff that was dropped off by the first person was taken by the second person. Like, if you ain't paid for it, either way, it don't matter. But we were going in yesterday. Today, we're going to be talking about women being powerbombed by men. And I just want to get some female opinions on this, some perspectives on this, because what y'all think about it. I seen some females, they was getting choked out. They was tapping, and they was getting choked out. They was all teary-eyed and stuff. And I was sitting here thinking, I don't know. Like, she asked for it because she signed up for it. She said she gonna play on a boys team, and she got dunked up. So I was like, well, she did that to herself. But at the same time, for those people who say, well, I don't want my daughter in something like that, that's wrong, blah, 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 blah. I asked myself, is it though? If they're equal, women are equal to men. So then the disadvantage that I believe that boys have a big disadvantage to mixed gender wrestling. And women are not going to agree with that. But I believe that boys have a big disadvantage to mixed gender wrestling. While boys are inherently physically stronger than women, boys are still not allowed to grapple women the way they would grapple men, which minimizes the boy's ability to grab her and do whatever wrestling move he would have done had that been a boy. With boys, you don't care where you put your hands at. You can just grab them and flip them. You can scoop them and slam them. But when you scoop a man and flip them, you can't scoop a girl that way. Well, you should be able to, because it's wrestling. And if that scoop slam is a wrestling move, you should be able to scoop slam that girl. But if a boy scoop slams a girl, then he just touched her naughty bits, and that's not deemed appropriate. So now boys have to be careful where they touch the girl while still trying to rationalize how they're going to maneuver themselves in this wrestling move. And then most of the women grab the bottom position where they're doing the leg lock and all this other stuff, which also puts the guy in a inappropriate position, trying to grapple his way out of what would be a rear naked choke, where she's kind of like pulling his head in and trying to suffocate him with his own Adam's apple kind of thing. And I asked myself, because why do you fall into the submissive position in wrestling? Why don't you try to like grab the guy and do like a Japanese arm drag, slam him onto the ground, stand on his arm, and try to pull his arm out of his socket, like Quang Chi from Mortal Kombat? Like, why do you have to fall on your back and throw your legs in the air and then wait for him to come in for the submission move so that you can wrap your legs around him and then put him into some kind of chicken wing kind of position? Like, I mean, when we see dogs do this, we're like, nah, you can't get on your back, bro. You got to stay on your feet. You're never supposed to go down for nothing. So is girls scrapping with boys in physical contact sports good or bad? What do you guys think? Look at Ronda Rousey in the UFC or MMA, UFC. Yeah. Now she's strong now. She's strong. She could probably put down a few dudes in her weight class. But I mean, she's like, what, 155, 165 pounds. So for her to go up against me, we're in the same weight class. I'm a lightweight as a dude. She's actually I'm more like a either a featherweight or a lightweight, probably a lightweight, because I'm right at 165 right now. It's about a lightweight, light heavyweight, lightweight. She at the same weight class, light heavyweight female. She's like a heavyweight for females. So, she can box up all the chicks. She might be able to equally spar with a guy like me, but what about a dude that would be like 6'3", 280 pounds? She can't go hand to hand with that guy. She box him and he punch her in the face and cave her face in. So, like, when do we determine that and the fact that this only exists because women believe that they can do everything that men can do, except for follow instructions, sit down, shut up. But everything else that a man can do, they can do that. They can't do as they're told. But everything else that a man can do, they can do that. So, which is why we end up with women in male sports, women in overly violent sports. So the question is, why should they be there? Should they be there? It's different when you have a woman competing with a man in golf, because that's not a full contact sport. Tennis. You actually don't see men versus women in tennis that often. But that's like not a full contact sport. But like wrestling, whether it's high school wrestling, pro wrestling, football, girls versus guys in football, you see girls, like, I don't see them even on hockey teams really, but if they were in a hockey team, like, could they really stand the full on hit from a dude? And then should we be pulling punches as men because we're fighting a girl? Is that fair for us to pull punches on because she's a girl? We don't want to hit her as hard. But then think about it. If we decided to say, well, maybe we shouldn't give it our all. Maybe we should only go half steam. Maybe we should give her a handicap. How would that impact the female's mentality if you're taking it easy on her and she still loses? Like, competitively, aren't you expected to give it your all? 100%, 110%, 200%? Well, if you said yeah, giving it your all is what is expected to be. If I could punch a hole in a wall, then my goal is to punch a hole in my opponent's face. Well, if I could punch a hole in my opponent's face and my opponent is female, should I be trying to punch a hole in my opponent's face, or should I be, trying to just kind of tap her a little bit and just, let her know that she's in the wrong sport? Y'all let me know. I still believe that when in Rome, you do what the Romans do. So if you step in a ring with a man, you gotta fight like a man. So Ronda Rousey, as long as she can fight like a man and she's okay with being picked up and slammed, if she's caught in a scoop slam, she's caught in a scoop slam. If she's caught in a German suplex, she's caught in a German suplex. I just feel like, man, when I see the wrestling is the one that's the most aggressive, but they don't do as much male versus female boxing, I guess because it displays domestic violence. And in a way, I kind of agree, because women shouldn't be hitting on men, and having promoting women beating on men shouldn't be done. Look, fellas, I'm on our side 100% of the way. I am never gonna say, oh no, she shouldn't be going through that. In a male-female interaction, if she's not supposed to be experiencing that, he's not supposed to be experiencing that. So since it's wrong to hit women, it should be wrong for women to hit men. It's just not. I don't know. But for the sake of competitiveness, like, women can compete with men in dancing. It's not a physical contact sport. Women can compete with men in swimming, because that's not a physical contact sport. But when we start talking about blood, broken bones, should women be in that type of sport, much less competing with a man? Because myself, I always expected, no matter how aggressive, like I kind of like high five like Lara Croft in Tomb Raider. I high five the girl in Resident Evil. I high five, Jada Pinkett. What was that? Poetic Justice. I'm just saying. I thought that, like, set it off. I thought those girls would set it off with, like, they did the dang thing, even though they didn't survive it at the end. But in every crime movie, does the bad guy ever get away? Like, no, they always make sure that a crime movie ends where the bad guy either does not succeed with his heist, or the bad guy gets caught and killed. They never show a movie where the bad guy beats the cops and gets away without getting hurt or killed, because they don't want to promote that. The only time they show that a guy beats cops is when it's bad cops with crooked cops. Then the guy is supposed to be the hero, kind of thing. They never set a movie up where the villains win. The only time that the villains win is in a series where the villain is winning right now, and the good guy is training to get strong enough to beat the villain. And then at the season finale, some of the good guys die, but the main characters in the next season survive, and the villain in this season gets defeated. And then in the next season, they're introduced to a new villain. That's pretty much how things go. But you're not going to see the villain win on principle. So, but back to the point though, when you've got girls and guys and they're in like full on like blood sports, MMA style, should like, like, and I was just sitting over here thinking, since females are getting into these male sports, like back in the day, you would not see two chicks in a UFC ring boxing it out. But these days, you got two chicks sometimes hitting each other harder than two men hit each other. And then I asked myself, when I seen that, why is Chris Brown not in female MMA? Because he would be in heaven just boxing up his opponents. If he was in there with, Ronda, well, he'd probably be getting boxed up though. Just trying to say. But I sit back and I think, should we continue to let that happen, or should we put a stop to that, since we're about to go to conservative America in a few months? should we say like women don't belong in blood sports, or should we just say that women should not be in blood sports with men? What do you guys think? Because I mean, the women don't want to be in the kitchen anymore. They don't want to be at home taking care of the kids anymore. They don't want to have responsibility anymore. But they're overly masculine, so they're willing to fight the men on the same playing field as men without being hit back by the man. So, like, should they take responsibility for their decision to get in the ring and fight a man and be fought at full strength by that man? Should like Chi-Chi have like Goku and Vegeta power up and do like the fusion and do like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta and like beat on Chi-Chi because she got into the ring with Goku and Vegeta? Because I mean, that's what they would have done with Cell. So why not do it to Chi-Chi and Bulma? Why, like, what's wrong? If they got into the ring to battle the guy for the championship, like whatever they would have done to beat their opponent, if their opponent was a dude, shouldn't they be doing the same thing if their opponent is female? Some would beg to differ. Now, those of us who say that wrestling isn't real, even though Randy Orton broke his neck, John Cena broke his neck, Edge broke his neck, the broken collarbones, fractured legs, fractured kneecaps. You have so many superstars that retire from injury, not from old age. They retire from injury. Some of them retire from drug addiction, but they primarily retire from injury. And then, you say that the sport is fake. All right. But the high school and college wrestling team, how real is that? And when we got the girls getting in the ring with the boys, like Cobra Kai, like I love that series. But when the girls and the boys were sitting there kicking one another in the face, I was asking myself, like, who signed off on that? Karate. Here's a good thing. Karate. Should girls and boys be in tournaments kicking each other in the face in karate, like mixed gender karate matches? Or should it be gender exclusive? Like there's a girls team over here, there's a boys team over here, the girls tournament versus the boys tournament. Like I still ponder these things, but I love the match. So when I'm watching the participants kick each other's butts, if it's the blue team or the red team, I'm just like, kick their butts. I'm like, oh, good move, like nice power slam or whatever, nice Northern Lights jackknife powerbomb. But if that was the female that was in that hourglass powerbomb, that half-hour suplex from Goldberg, like how many of y'all would say that that's inappropriate to do? Would y'all say like, oh, he shouldn't have did that to her? Like, does anybody believe that a female facing Rhino in the ring should not get gored? Does anybody here think tonight that a woman should not be chokeslammed by the Big Show? Like, tell me what y'all got going on. Special needs. Tell me what's up. What do y'all think about females throwing blows with males for the world heavyweight title, or the national championship boxing league, or the UFC championship title, or the black belt in your karate dojo? Like, what do y'all think about women boxing men up? And then while I wait for y'all to figure this point out, because I know a lot of y'all are a little bit reluctant to respond, I just feel like, hey, what about the domestic violence situations where girls and guys are going to blows in the streets? No referee, no rules. The police are 45 minutes late. Should that be going down? Like, who do you think should be the bigger person and not allow those fists to be thrown? Should it be the guy's responsibility to subdue the girl in a nonviolent fashion, or should it be the girl's responsibility to subdue the guy in a nonviolent fashion? Because I mean, we kind of started having this conversation on the show yesterday, but logic dictates that uniformity is not moral, and since uniformity is not moral, and with the lack of morals, there's a lack of ethics. If right or wrong is subjective, and we've gone over this a few times in the show over the past couple of months, if right or wrong is subjective, the question is, why should we not have females getting beat up by dudes in full contact sports? And then here's a good question. I've been sitting here pondering this for a while, because since women believe that they do the, and I believe that women are more focused than men because men are distracted by the desire of sex. But the fact is that a woman could probably be really good as a punter or a kicker on a football team. So why do we not have women in the NFL? I mean, we got a whole WNBA, which I think is interesting, not because it's the WNBA, but because the majority of the women in the WNBA have a better shot point average than LeBron James. But for some reason, they're not on the Lakers. He's on the Lakers. I don't understand that. Like, they could probably recruit 2 or 3 females and put them on the Lakers team and get better results than the record that they're getting from LeBron James. So I'm just trying to figure out, like, when do you draw the line? When do you say, nope, we shouldn't do this? When do we say, probably not? You know, and that's one of the things that I thought today's show should be about. We should be trying to address, like, how do we figure this gender inequality thing out? Because I know that you can push me in the chest and I'm supposed to fall back. But if you push her in the chest, you groped her. So in a full contact sport, like, how do you cup the person in a reverse submission maneuver and not get a sexual harassment charge? Like, what happens with the think about this though. This is one of those things that really got to me, that I just sat there and I laughed at the thought of this. Like, you know how when they get you in the arm bar, like, there's some guys that would love to be in the arm bar just to get close enough to sniff. But I'm just saying, like, you know how you're in the arm bar? Like, how do you get out of the arm bar without violating the female? Because I know that like, you can kind of like move the leg and potentially put her into an ankle lock, and then, but like, if you like try to put her into the ankle lock and now she's kind of got you in this like reverse vice grip kind of thing where her knees are locked behind your head, and so are there moves that women can't do against men because they're women? Because I haven't really figured this concept out, to say the least. I understand the concept, but I just haven't figured it out. Like, I understand that men cannot be hit below the belt, but men can get hit in the chest. Women shouldn't get hit in the chest. So is it fair to say that women cannot receive body blows? Like, it's against the rules to hit a woman in the body blows? Because I mean, it's yeah. So I had a plethora of concepts, a plethora of what ifs when we were analyzing today's show. And I mean, I really thought that there was going to be a lot more of you guys coming in and saying, oh yeah, we should probably not do that anymore. And I wanted to ask those of you who had that opinion, why? But for those of you that are like, fuck yeah, beat that ass, my question again to that is, well, why? Like, because I mean, I'm all about fair sportsman-like conduct, but like, where do we draw the line? And then while we're talking about where to draw the line, I just kind of want to dive all the way back in the day, because we were talking about this kind of, we touched on this about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We touched on this on the show, and what we were talking about back then was that there was a time way back in the day when men wore high heels and wigs, and they had the cloak, which was the closest thing to a dress that men used to wear to represent status and wealth back in the Roman era, right? Then women adopted that took over the now, and then a queen made it mandatory that only the women could do that to represent financial status. Now, after that, men were not allowed to wear the dresses or the heels or the makeup because the makeup and stuff was worn by the men. The women took that. Now women are wearing makeup. Then the men are wearing pants, only allowed to wear pants. Now women want to wear pants. Now women are taking the men's pants. The women are taking the men's shorts. And then we now have the women taking the men's jobs, and now the women are being overly masculine. So over the generations, no matter what era we look at, the 1800s, the 1900s, the 2000s, we're looking at wherever masculinity is afoot, women dive into male masculinity and attempt to dominate it so that they can be considered equal. And that's why I asked for today's show, like, where do we draw the line? Because, I mean, we have a couple of politicians in the United States that have made laws that say that you can't go into certain bathrooms because of your gender type. And they're identifying males as their assigned gender at birth. And so regardless of whether or not your assigned gender at birth was male or female, whatever you identify yourself as now today doesn't change the fact that if you have male on your birth certificate, you can't go in the women's room just because you're wearing a dress. So when they're passing those laws, that actually sucks for the guys, though, because the law actually says primarily men can't use women's facilities. Women just choose not to use male facilities, but the law doesn't really prohibit women from using male facilities. And I don't understand why we're in a country where rules are being made against a specific gender. I think the only rule that I thought, it's a law that I seen passed when we were talking about some of the most ridiculous laws in this country that I thought was entertaining, was that a female cannot fall asleep under the hairdresser at the salon. It's against the law in some states in America. So I can go to the salon and I can get my hair did and I can sip some champagne and fall asleep under the hair dryer, not break a law. But ladies cannot fall asleep under the hair dryer in a salon while being a woman and not go to jail for it. So it's one of those unenforced laws, but I thought that it was a funny law to see because that's like the only law that I have found so far that gender exclusively negatively impacts the agenda of women. But men, most of the laws just really fucking suck for the dudes. And I mean, we just adapt to it and we overcome it. But I just really want to know, like, where do we draw the line? So we understand that domestic violence is domestic violence. And while we talk about how the violent behavior of men is unacceptable because historically men were identified by society as being more violent than women because women are excused because of their emotional state. And back in those days when women did not have equal recognition as men, because they were considered less than a man, they were allowed to do more stuff the way children are allowed to do more stuff because the women were not responsible for anything. Now that women are equally responsible for the same stuff that men are responsible for, the question goes to term. It's like, why do the women still not have the responsibility? So when we're dealing with those domestic violence scenarios, in a situation like on an airplane, when a woman is verbally abusing a man, physically abusing a man, should we not call the police and press charges on her for hitting the guy, slap him in the face? Who cares if he cheated on her with her mom and her daughter at the same time? Who cares about that part? Let's just look at the fact that she got mad and she decided to throw a heavy object at him. Should she be allowed to do that because she's a girl? Or should the law dictate that that was assault with a weapon and she should be prosecuted for it? What about those women that get emotional and they decide to tear up a man's car? Y'all know that old song that people sing at bars where she takes a blade and cuts up the seats and spray paints the car and busts out the windows and and take out the headlights and just really destroys this man's vehicle, talking about he should learn from this before the next time he decides to cheat. And I tell myself every time I hear that song, when the women are the only ones going nuts about that song, and I'm sitting here thinking to myself, as much as they love conflict, if consequences for your actions is that you look like that vehicle when you're done, you rethink what you're about to do before you do it. The same way she's saying, rethink what you're about to do before you cheat a second time, because she gonna fuck the truck up. You and the truck are gonna look like twins after the fact. Is that right to do? Is that right to consider it comeuppance? When we start doing mixed gender ideologies, is it fair to say eye for an eye, or should we specifically say eye for an eye unless it's a girl? And I've been confused about that. Like, should redemption come from women? Because we have not seen many abilities to hold females accountable. Take, for example, if a man cheats on a woman, it cheats on his wife, and that man gets a divorce, she gets a divorce, she divorces him because he cheated on her, right? So he divorces her, and because she divorces him. So because she divorces him because he cheated on her, now she is in a position where she gets half of his estate. Now, that is his punishment for cheating on his wife. She divorces him. She takes half of his estate. Now, scenario number 2. She is in a relationship with a man. He's physically abusive. He doesn't treat her right. She divorces him because of his behavior. She gets half of his estate, and that's his punishment for mistreating her, right? Now, what about those situations where the woman cheats on the man and then he divorces her, but laws dictate that because he makes more money than her, he still has to give her half of his income? What about the scenarios where the man is dating a woman that's physically abusive, and the man divorces the woman, but laws dictate that because the man makes more money than the woman, that the man's got to give the woman alimony? When do we draw the line and say equality, true equality, not feminist equality, not feminism's ideology of equality, like real, legitimate equality, egalitarian uniformism, where what I am expected to receive as a punishment or a consequence, you should be expecting to receive as a punishment or a consequence? When do we enforce that? Because ultimately, that's how we boil down, should we have mixed gender sports? Because if we're entitled to mixed gender sports where you could get gorilla press slammed by a dude because you signed up for this shit, that's when we can say that it's fair that, the women are jumping into the ring with the men. But while the women are jumping into the ring with the men, especially when they're doing it with the blood sports, here's a question for the ladies. Do y'all remember what being feminine was about? Excuse me. I'm going to ask that again. Do y'all remember like what you had to do to be feminine? Because looking sexy and being feminine are not the same thing. The difference between wearing a short, tight skirt that shows all your private parts versus modestly wearing a pantsuit or wearing a sundress that goes down to your ankles. The difference between you recognizing and submitting to the authority that you chose versus maintaining the authority as the leader over the person that you want to take care of you. Where do you draw the line? These are the things that we look at, that I ask on the show, because It's crazy how we have so much inequality, and the inequality is so far gone to the point where wow, I can't believe that it's happening the way it's happening, and we're not even willing to call it out. I got comments on both sides, but I don't see too many people sitting here saying yay or nay on give me a wrestling move. Fireman's carry. Like, what do y'all think? What do y'all think about choke slam off the top rope? Exactly, Parker. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. So females jumping into the ring with a man. Tell me something, Parker. How do you feel about that? What do you think about these females jumping into the ring with the man, going toe to toe for the title? Should we be pulling punches? Should we be being gentle? Should we not be as aggressive because it's a female? Or should we just go all in? And like Rihanna, answer that. Should in a mixed gender match, should a dude go head to head and just really try to go for the goal, go for the goal? Should they really go like full on out and uh 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 risk it all for the sake of victory? Like, could you guys imagine if Apollo Creed and Rocky Balboa was like it? I'm trying to think of like say I don't know, Apollo Creed and Madonna. Like, could you have imagined that particular type of boxing match? Like, if Rocky was a female, if Rocky Balboa was Roxanne, since we got these uh extras going on, if Rocky was Roxanne and he was boxing Apollo or she was boxing Apollo, how many times can he hit her in the face before the ref is supposed to throw in the towel and say, you know what, that's enough. She can't take anymore. Or do you let her say, I ain't going down for nothing, and just let her get in there and take those Chris Brown shots until there's no tomorrow? Because that's what we're really trying to get to the bottom of today. We're trying to determine is it appropriate for women to be in men's sports? And I'm not satisfied until one of you ladies get up here, and because y'all were here yesterday and y'all were talking a lot of shit yesterday, but now that I'm saying, oh, y'all shouldn't be in male sports unless y'all want to get what the men get, I don't see too many women jumping in here saying, yeah, we're gonna get in there and we're gonna take every broken jaw and every lost tooth and every cracked nasal cavity that we got to take in order to win the trophy. Most of y'all are like, wait, men beating on women? Nah, swipe. But that's where we're at. That's where we're at. Who name is that? A Dela check? Would you that's not even like paycheck. It's like Dea e checky. Is that supposed to be like Arabic for payday? So while we're sitting over here trying to hash this out, while we're sitting here trying to figure out the concepts of going 100 male versus female, because see, if a woman is fighting against a woman can give 100%, and if a woman is fighting against a woman can give 100%. And when we start talking about morals and ethics, the difference between what you can do versus what you should do is the difference between the ideologies and expectations of what is right or wrong versus what is legal or illegal, because the laws are not moral or ethical in most cases. There are situations where it is legal, but it is not moral or ethical. It is somewhat considered right in the eyes of the law, but socially unacceptable. So if she signs enough waivers, like, should she really get up in there with Floyd Mayweather and take those licks? And I'm giving y'all a lot of like, and it's strange because while I'm giving y'all these scenarios, I see Hannah, I see Leslie, all these women coming into the Laney. I see all these women coming in, but they're not telling me like what their opinion is about women crawling into the ring with a man and trying to scrap with a man hands up. They come in and they're like, wait, he talking about women getting smacked around by men? No, I don't even hear Rihanna. What y'all got to say about that? What is your perspective on quality in blood sports with men? Now, I'm going to say, fair to say, this is something that I thought should be a thing, and that is equal opportunity home ec. Because, fellas, these women these days are not going to cook for you. So we should be taught how to cook, and we should be teaching our sons how to cook. Because if she can't cook better than you, bro, you do not need her. You need to go get a female that can cook. Because it doesn't matter how much you suck as a dude in the kitchen. If she sucks more than you, then that is not a good look for you as a dude. So, I'm going to come from an equality standpoint. If y'all are going to get into the ring with the man, get boxed up like a man, but if women deserve to be in the ring, if women deserve to fight night, UFC, Muay Thai, get into the ring, no holds barred. That's how I feel. No holds barred. You got guys they got to put their hands out almost like they didn't gave up the match because they don't want to put their hands on the chest and push off the body like they would have done had it been a man. They like I told y'all earlier, they don't want to scoop slam the other person because by scooping, you got to grab them at the crotch area and lift them up off their feet. And you don't want to scoop slam them because you don't want to put your hand there because that's a girl. But should you? Because if that would have been a dude, you would have scoop slammed him. So why is it not right when the chick when the chick is in the ring? And another question is, why do we have subjective bias in gender inequality? Why can't we just have a uniform standard that says this is what you must do if you're a dude and this is what you must do if you're not a dude? And just stand on principle. Why do we have to say, well, the women have the right to be like men, but the men must be men, because if they stop performing the roles of a man, they are not considered men anymore. But a woman can perform like a man and just be considered a boss woman, a independent woman. Where do we draw the line here? I'm still trying to figure it out. I see a few of y'all diving in from YouTube. I really appreciate y'all. I see a couple more of y'all coming in from TikTok. Thank y'all for coming in. We still see a lot of females rolling in from TikTok, and I'm waiting on y'all ladies to get in here trying to tell me what's what. But it is the most interesting thing. And then while I'm waiting on somebody to throw some hands into this conversation, I'm sitting over here trying to figure out here's another perspective. Do y'all ladies think that men really want to be involved with masculine women? Do women really believe that a woman that is an alpha male, alpha masculine woman is attractive? Do y'all really think that? Because I'm gonna tell you from my perspective that a masculine woman is not attractive. When men found quote unquote tomboy-ish behavior, she is still feminine. She just wore boy clothes. She was still attractive. She just got out there and did what some of the boys did in a feminine way. But now she is butch in this bitch running over dudes and saying, oh, I'm still supposed to be treated like a lady. When is a woman not considered a woman? When is a female not considered a female? When is where's the line of femininity, and where it stops? When will we start saying you are no longer behaving like a woman because you are not behaving feminine? Because I can tell you that I've seen a lot of times, especially for those of you that are watching on TikTok, I've seen a lot of times especially with that those balloon popping things where y'all be flipping through and y'all see the people, they got like 5 or 10 girls up there. One guy walks up and then they just start popping a balloon. Typically stereotypical. It's about the way he looks. They don't like the way he looks. They didn't like his vibe, his walk. Vibe. The fuck is vibe? But they don't like it, so they pop the balloon. Notice how when the dude is standing there and the women walk up one at a time, and the dude's got to decide, left or right, and you see the girl walk up. Most women walk like men, straight. Do y'all know that masculine people walk with their shoulders, where their hips stay straight, their legs move, but their shoulders sway? Masculine. Feminine, the shoulders don't move and the hips sway. Y'all notice that in modern times, people who consider themselves to be masculine men have no shoulder movement and a lot of hip movement, and the females that consider themselves to be attractive 10s have no hip movement and all shoulder movement, or not even that, no hip movement, no shoulder movement, and a bunch of neck movement. Y'all notice that? The women are more masculine than the men. 2024. How do we address that? Because I hope y'all know, ladies, that is not attractive. That is not coming up like cock diesel up on me and giving me instructions. That's not attractive. And I can see that some women might do that because they're nervous. They'll just come in and take charge. And you do this and you do that. I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to him. And then when you can go back by your homegirls, yeah, I put them in their place. I did this. I did that. But when we're dealing with social interaction and gender inequality, we're not looking at, she came and she saw and she conquered. We're looking at, should she have even shown up for that shit? And who did she think she was going to conquer with that shit? Because not a lot of dudes are saying, oh, yeah, I'm cool with being bullied by a female. Some men will say that it's not possible to get bullied by a female. But hey, Red, out there in Romania, y'all women slapping y'all in the face and throwing water on y'all, and y'all just standing there taking that like, oh, I fucked up? Or real talk, if they get out of line, y'all gonna take them into a dark room and remind them? Because I know the laws are different in Romania than what they are here in America. But I just had to ask, because in certain countries, it isn't considered domestic violence. It's considered disciplining your spouse. And in other countries, they don't really have that many domestic violence laws where men are not allowed to respond to their wives' violent behavior with violence. So all of this boils down to whether or not the women should even be violent with men. But Lisa just dove in. Lisa, should a woman get into a ring with a man and throw down like men throw down? Should the women be more feminine? And here's a question for you ladies. Exactly what characteristics are defined as female yesteryear. Here, what is truly identified as feminine behavior, feminine traits, and feminine activities. Because if we can identify this, then we can really recognize and realize that there's a lot of shit going on right now where it's just masculinity all over the place. Do you know? And I'm just bouncing around right now because I have a one-sided opinion and I'm looking for the other side because I really want to debate this, but I need a debater that's like going to be the exact opposite of me and try to make that make sense. But I can't see anybody ever admitting that I'm wrong when I start making it make sense in this podcast. But do you guys understand that one of the reasons why statistically the relationships are not lasting more than 6 months, between 6 months and 2 years and 9 months, is because of the relationship having too much masculine energy? Do you guys know that because no one is feminine and everyone is masculine in the relationship, that the clash of masculinity to be recognized and respected as the alpha of the relationship causes the primary quantity of arguments in the relationship beyond somebody made a mistake or an error in judgment and they're being fussed at by their partner? You know that the power struggle is because there are two alpha males in the relationship and neither one of them is willing to relinquish their authority. That is the main reason why relationships have unnecessary arguments and fall apart for something other than domestic violence and cheating and messing up the money. Just want to put that out there. And how do you name yourself 12355? That almost sounds like a zip code that is related to illegal activities. So I just kind of want to I told you I was going to start getting in on some of these people's ridiculous names because I don't know what you were thinking when you picked that name when you started your profile, but I would like to. I would like to. But as we try to analyze this, because it's entertaining to talk about, but it's hard to enforce. When we're dealing with cross-gender sports, the rules are supposed to still be the same, but like I said before, the ability to get the smack laid down on you is subjectively different because of your gender. And I understand that when you're dealing with the wrestling, specifically wrestling, that there can be a little bit more of an equal plane when women and men wrestle in mixed gender wrestling matches. The WWE doesn't do too much mixed gender wrestling. When the WWE, even though the WWE is supposed to be fake, when they have a mixed gender match, tag team match, it's always a tag team match. I cannot remember since Jacqueline versus Jeff Jarrett a time where a woman versus a man. They do got this new girl in the WWE right now that is somewhat holding the light heavyweight title against the men, but she's not fighting men every day for that light heavyweight title. She's just the female light heavyweight champion. But the thing is that in the WWE, when they have mixed gender matches, they have the woman get into the ring, and when a man gets into the ring, she tags out and another man gets in. The woman and the man don't clash. In a dual male tag team match, if you jump in, I'm just going to fight whoever jumps in. And then when I tag out, whoever's in the ring fights whoever jumps in for me. When it's mono women, if we're in the ring and we go head to head with one another, and then you tag out, whoever jumps in goes head to head, and then when I tag out, whoever jumps in is fighting whoever's already in the ring. But when it's a mixed gender match, if two guys start the match and the guy tags out the girl, then the guy goes and tags in the other girl, and then the two girls fight. If one of the girls attacks one of the guys, the guy takes that lick, and then the girl jumps in and returns the lick to the other girl. The guys don't fight the girls. But in like college wrestling, high school wrestling, junior high school wrestling, we're looking at the girls and the guys hitting the mat, and they're just like, they got one dude, and I just when I seen him, I'm like, yeah, I got to talk about this, because he was slamming. He was like, he didn't give a shit. He was just like, blam, and put him in a chokehold. He would just like wrap him up, like, I'm gonna make you tap, dude. And I was like, that's how you don't discriminate. You beat that ass the way you would have beat that ass had that been a dude. But at the same time, when you're looking at the girl tearing all up because she's getting her ass kicked, you're looking at the girl getting beat up, and then you're saying, that's not good. He shouldn't be so rough. I don't know. I don't know. I still think that if she signed up for that, because just like the same thing that I say about when police join a police academy and then they get out there and they get shot at, and then they come back and they start treating civilians like crap, and then they tell the civilians, oh, you got to understand, I have a tough job, so I have to make tough decisions. I got to keep myself safe. Fucker, you signed up for a dangerous ass job. You signed up to get shot at. You signed up to get pistol whipped. You signed up to get tied up in the back seat of your own squad car and have somebody throw gasoline on it because they don't like cops. You signed up for that, knowing what you have to go through. When I left my house today, I did not sign a document that said that I wanted to get pistol whipped by a cop because I matched the description of some minority male on the other side of the state. Now, same thing when the girls jump into the sports with the guys, and the girls start ending up in those overly aggressive positions, and they say, oh, well, you know, she's being too hard on him, or he's being too hard on her, or, you know, he's being too aggressive with her and he shouldn't do that. What happens if you put the girl into like a reverse arm bar kind of situation and you end up dislocating her shoulder? Like, is he being too tough? Or did she just not have enough vitamin C? Because she signed up for that. She knew that she was going up against boys, some boys on steroids, and she knew that there was going to be some physical contact. What goes through the mindset of a girl that she's going to participate in a sport where she is going to wrap her legs around a dude and have that dude wrap his arms around her neck knowingly? Like, what were you thinking outside of being the only child in a family full of boys, or being the only child? I mean, being the only girl in a family full of boys, or being the only child and dad raised you like a boy kind of thing, and you're just joining a wrestling team to make your dad proud kind of situation, which I have never seen a father say, get out there and fuck those boys up. No, I've never seen them do that. Now, yeah, we teach our daughters to defend themselves. We teach our daughters to stand on her own 2 feet so that she does not have to depend on a man. But we never teach our daughters to join a male exclusive, or what used to be a male exclusive, athletic sport, and then say, oh, let's get out there and fuck them up and give it to him and hit him in the nuts. And no, we don't have that. We don't have that. You know, so what was the girl thinking when she signs up for a male sport where she is going to have aggressive physical contact with men? Was she thinking, oop, I'm gonna get fucked up by boys? Is that why she jumped in? Kadeen, Ryan, what do you think? Do you guys think that this is the thing to do? That, you know, they're just jumping in for the sake of you know, or was this a tactical approach? Oh, there's certain holds that he can't do because I'm a girl, so I'm gonna win because, you know, and then I get double clout because I won, but I also am a girl. Like, y'all already see how the Olympics is calling double standards and saying, oh, well, you know, you can say you're a female, but I mean, if you got too much testosterone in your blood, You're not a female. What if we use the rules of Olympics to determine gender in social functions? Certain percentage of testosterone, you're deemed a man. Now, think about this. This is something that I thought would be really entertaining, because that question stems a whole new question. As we get older, our hormones shift. Men gain more estrogen, women gain more testosterone. Doesn't explain the overly masculine behavior at 27, but it does explain the less aggressive behavior of men in their 60s and 70s. So, question. If we took the Olympic rules and said that if you had too much testosterone over a certain level, you are considered a man, would logic dictate that under those same rules, that if you lose too much testosterone, that you would be considered female? And if that rule was enforced, would you then be required to use the women's restroom under those American laws that says that women must go to the women's room and men must go to the men's room? So you've been going to the men's room where it has the little stick figure of the little box boy with the little legs and stuff up until last year, when your testosterone levels wasn't high enough. And now you got to start going to the bathroom with the little triangle dress and the little female with the little squiggly things. Like, it's almost like when you had to pass the eye exam in order to get your driver's license. After a certain level of vision, you have to now take the eye exam with prescription glasses on and have your prescription glasses in your photo. And then now it's a restriction. You can't drive without your glasses on. Yeah, my glasses are on my driver's license. These frames are on my driver's license. No diddy. But what if that was a thing? So because you failed your testosterone exam, the M is now in F on your driver's license. Your driver's license now has F parentheses M, because it used to be formerly known as male. Because uniformity is linear. It is not moral. It is not ethical. It does not succumb to subjectivism. And that's one of the things. Like, I really enjoyed today's show. I really thought that today was a good topic to talk on. I actually was expecting you guys to have a lot more aggressive opinions on today's topic, because I know that as soon as I started talking about Halloween, the feminists jumped in and really took the show for a 4-hour show. Red, 4 hours. And I think it was 4 hours and 32 minutes, because I'm talking about Halloween. And they came to a feminist construct in a Halloween show about how Halloween changed from back in the day to the day. When did feminism become a Halloween-driven topic? Or when did Halloween become a feminist-driven topic? That's a better question. But that's what happened yesterday. That's what happened yesterday. And it was highly hilarious. But I just thought that was a good question to ask. I just thought that, with everything that we got going on these days, and we've got some stuff coming up, because tomorrow we're going to be talking about some of the cities and states that are now buyer friendly. They're called buyer states, because in real estate's changing, the market is changing. And the people who have control over the price is the seller's market. So it's buyer's market and seller's market. The people who have more control over the price of the property in a seller's market is the seller. Because if there are more people trying to buy, then you don't have to really reduce your price. But in a buyer's market, there are more people trying to sell than people trying to buy. So you could typically go and buy a cheaper house somewhere else. So in a seller's market, you as the buyer have to more strictly adhere to the price, the sticker price of the house. You might get tax credits. You might be able to negotiate the forfeit of the tax credits in exchange for the foundational inspection, so that you know what's wrong with the house when you buy the house. But the difference between a seller's market and a buyer's market is that when the buyers control, they can drop the price of the house by $10,000-$20,000, and the seller will sell the house anyway. And then the amount of money that they reduce the cost of the house by offsets the closing costs, and then you end up walking away with the house at cost without having to pay for the closing fees, reduce taxes, and everything to that effect. But ironically, it reduces the value of the house because the house is only valued at what it's willing to be paid for. People don't think about that, but they just try to save money on their houses when they're trying to buy it. And we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. So there's going to be a lot of research tonight and tomorrow that's going into the buyer's markets that exist here in 2024 and interest rates here in 2024 as we go towards the end of 2024, getting into the beginning of 2025, so that we can really analyze how, guess what, real estate in America is positively impacting real estate in China and Hong Kong and Japan. So I told y'all before, if we're going to twiddle our thumbs with real estate, we need to go ahead and get in it head deep, like not knee deep. We want to get neck deep in real estate, or if you're going in head first, because I know a lot of y'all like to be put in that reverse rear naked choke and have it right there in your face. But you got to go head deep into the real estate thing, because if you're doing that in America, you do it correctly, you build up the money, you talk to the embassy of whatever country you're going to, you establish your business in that country, then you fly over there on a business visa, and then you do the paperwork to establish your business out there. You'd be able to make you some money in more than one country. If you're making money here, the money that it costs to expand is a tax write-off. So there you just got to talk to your tax lawyer or your CPA about what limitations to international taxes that you got to deal with. Because while you might not be taxed by the U.S. government, you might be taxed by the Chinese government. So you might still have to pay taxes on that $120,000. You're just not paying for it in two different countries. So that's one of the things that you just got to take into consideration and recognize. But today, I'm going to go ahead and put a pin in today's show for a multitude of reasons. But one of them, before I go, Red. So the modem got in today. We got it. It's this little baby block thing right here. Really tiny thing. Way smaller than the one that we had. It has been kind of working, but it has been doing a lot of updates since we got it. So it has not been effectively providing internet diligently throughout yesterday's podcast. We had a moment in time where we lost the podcast kept going, but we had lost the connection. And then we had to come back in and finish the podcast, but we still managed to pull off a 4.5-hour podcast. We was only disconnected for, I think, 2 or 3 minutes, and then we dove back in. But the device came yesterday, Monday, and they are still notating the fact that I am not receiving the service that I'm supposed to be receiving. So they're supposed to be talking about giving me a full month's credit on it, but the supervisor that's supposed to authorize a full month's credit has not shown up yet, has been out sick since last week, and is expected to come back either tomorrow or the next day and follow up with whether or not I get my full month's credit. But they gave me a $60 credit, so I guess I can accept that for now. But I'm just like, nah, I really want my whole $350, because $350 for a phone bill is a lot of fucking money. I don't care if you're a business, I don't care if you're an individual. $350 for a fucking phone bill is a lot of fucking money. So if the phone bill is 2/3 internet service and you ain't got no fucking internet service, it is time to credit the whole bill. So that's that. But since we do have more internet service, you're going to see me doing a lot more stuff coming soon as the updates on the device improves the bandwidth connection, where I can download and upload in faster times. You're going to see me doing a lot more stuff on the YouTube side of things, and potentially even see me remaster a way to grab a hold of the stream key and tiptoe right on into putting Twitch, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitter here on StreamYard, where everybody's in the same spot, and we're all streaming from the same location, and everybody can kind of mix and match. So just wanted to talk to you about that real quick before we had ran up out of here, because, you know, I'm not seeing too many of y'all ladies tell me. I see 5 of y'all in here right now that are not answering my question. How y'all feel about these women about to go to blows with these men in the ring? Because I still want to know. I still want to know. That's something that had not gotten answered yet. But I know that they kind of running away from the question. But as soon as I start talking about how men need to be treated better, so many of the feminists come running back into the podcast and start trying to, oh, you're misogynistic. They don't want to answer my questions now. They don't want to tell me what they think about a woman boxing up a man, or even worse, a woman getting boxed up by a man. But they want to definitely come up in here and tell me that a man doesn't deserve to be getting treated by a woman here in the United States in the Western culture. So I found this is a very interesting science experiment. As soon as we put, women on the spot, all the women came up missing. But when we in a couple of days, because tomorrow night we're going to be talking about the tax liens and the tax deeds, but the night after that, we're going to be getting into some of those social inequality and gender inequality type topics, and we're going to be involved with a lot of those self-improvement situations where you really got to pay attention to who you know, as well as what you know, so that you can improve yourself and make yourself more successful. And I'm going to continue trying to teach women that, yeah, you can be alphas, you can be leaders when you're single, but when you select a man to lead you, so you are surrendering your authority. So one of the things you should prioritize as ladies is your ability to make sure that this man is making appropriate decisions the way you would want decisions to be made, as opposed to determining how much money he has in the bank. Because if he's not responsible, or he doesn't make the right decisions that is in line with your best interests, then you selected the wrong man. So he could be rich, but if his richness is not making decisions that benefit you, then he can be rich all day long, and you'll be Diary of a Mad Black Woman, pissed off at the decisions that he made that selfishly benefits him. So truth, I really believe, long story short, that you ladies need to be changing your priorities and really be focusing on how you will benefit from this dude beyond his money, while you show and prove to him how he can benefit from you if he's spending his money on you. This is a two-way street. I'm always coming off of a uniform perspective. And it's amazing. I just noticed how a little after 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern, like, you guys start rolling in. You guys start really rolling in. It's like an hour and a half into the show. You guys start rolling in. We be starting live at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, and 5 Pacific. Y'all show up an hour and a half late. So for those of y'all, before I call myself trying to quick walk up out of here, for those of y'all that are coming in an hour and a half late, do y'all have a position on mixed gender sports where women are boxing and wrestling and fighting, MMA, UFC, fighting, women and men are fighting in the ring? And do y'all think that those women that get in the ring with the men, that the men should pull their punches and be more gentle? Or do y'all believe that those women should get 100% of what the man has to offer in the ring and earn that championship the way the opponent would have earned the championship had it been a male versus male battle? What do y'all think? Do y'all think that these women should not be getting in the ring? Is there a place that women don't belong? Or do y'all believe that these women should get up there like Xena Warrior Princess and fight their way to the top and get broken jaws and black eyes and dislocated rotator cuffs and have flashbacks like they were dating Chris Brown? Which one do y'all think is best? Because technically, what is moral and what is ethical is socially ascribed. So if society dictates that a girl should get into the ring and battle like a man until she breaks her rib cage, then it's fair. If society dictates that, women should not be getting in the ring and boxing with men heads up, then they should probably just be the car girl or the coach or the coach's assistant and just stay on the sidelines and root for the fighter. But if y'all believe that these girls should get out there and fight club, tell me what y'all think now. Fight club with the men. Now, I'm not talking about having a female only fight club. I'm talking about getting out there and fight clubbing with the men. Because the fourth rule of Fight Club is that on your first night you have to fight. So what is right or wrong, good and bad, just or unjust when it comes down to men and women with their extreme physical contact, athleticism, blood sports? Because I know there was a lot to say yesterday. I probably should have asked this question yesterday so that we could talk about what people thought yesterday while we were talking about everything else. But if you guys do not have too many yays or nays about it, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the show today and start preparing for tomorrow's real estate discussion. And we will be covering a lot more bases for the rest of the week because, we're going to be here live 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific, 7 days a week. So come sooner, come earlier if you can. And we will be able to talk about this, that, and everything in between, everything under the sun. And as we sign out of TikTok, I just want to say, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, a lot like women getting into a sport and trying to fight a man like a man, but then expecting to be treated like a lady, it doesn't make sense, ladies. I'm going to keep asking y'all to make it make sense. So ladies, make it make sense. And while I tap out of TikTok, I just want to go ahead and tell you guys that are showing up on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube, I really appreciate you guys coming to see me. I really appreciate you guys showing support every day. It is a positive thing to do for you guys to continuously show support. Look at that. We've got one Naya. Every now and again, we get us a good sport to sit there and rise away with us for a half hour. But I really appreciate you guys coming in and showing that support and being with us through those waves. And as we see those trends, Red. So I told you I was going to tell you. So sponsor decided that he's going to give me a book about investing. So I'm going to take a look at that book. I'm going to talk to you guys about it, make a show about it. But he also wants me to do a promo for him. So I'm going to do a promo, but then I'm going to talk about it on the show. So I told y'all some branded content, affiliate marketer stuff to that effect. There's some branded stuff that I do for the members. So if you join a membership and you pay the membership fee on a monthly, then I promote your shit. But which I gotta edit the description of that because it just says collaborations. I need to say branded content collaboration so that they understand that I'm taking on flat rate across the board. If you pay $500 and then show me your membership account and you tell me to push your brand, I think it depends on how many times you want me to do a video. I'll probably limit it to a certain quantity of videos I'll do for you per month. But I will be promoting your brand along with everybody else's brand. I'm gonna make sure that I don't break it down to where the entire show is just promoting people's content. But I feel like home improvement, where I will do segues out of each show, maybe take breaks in the middle of the topic and promo somebody's stuff during the live podcast. But beyond that, the most of the branded content is going to be premiered on a YouTube platform, and maybe I'll put some up on a TikTok platform, depending on how much they're willing to pay me per post. Because I got to post it on 2 different platforms at the very least, 3 if I'm posting it up on TikTok. And then I also got Facebook, but Facebook requires a lot more to do. So I told you I was going to let you know once we start doing some more of that extra branded content. So I just want to give you a heads up that branded content is here. So I got to check today. That's another reason why I'm getting off the show early, because I got to touch base with the collaborator and find out if and when, not if, when he is sending me the product, and then confirm what all he's sending me in the product, what kind of videos I'm going to do. I did tell him I was going to put it up onto the live podcast. So when we get back into, because he's got a book about investing. So when we get back into one of those investment books or one of those investment topics, any of the concepts that he has in his book, I will be pointing that out on the show while we're talking about those investment concepts. So we're not just going to be talking about bullshit. We're not going to just be talking about random day-to-day, like life ain't fair kind of stuff. We are going to be talking about how it doesn't make sense, and we're going to be talking about ways for you guys to better improve yourselves and how to make it make sense. And I know that while Romania is not the same country as the United States, some of the investment strategies are universal across all countries. It just has different monetary values based on the market that the country, or the country that the market is in. So you might be able to take some of these investment strategies and implement them directly in your country, dollar for dollar. Some of them you might have to modify the values of the dollars because the interest rates versus the investment requirement and the time durations in your country might be different than the interest rates and the investment requirements and the time durations in the United States. But success is success across the world. So all you have to be able to do is put a little bit of money aside. I know that a lot of y'all are working hard to rub two pennies together to make a dollar, but if you're able to put some money aside to be able to invest in things to make things less stressful, as you start getting more money, instead of investing into something to take the investment and the interest from the principal and putting it on your bills, if you put that money towards your investment and then you take the interest from your investment and invest in something else that is more profitable without having magnifications of risk, you want to minimize risk and emphasize reward. And that's probably what this investment book is going to be about, is maximizing reward and minimizing risk. And if you can find a decent balance, you can put in enough capital in enough places to maximize your success with investments over time and not have to go through so much losing your principal. And when you're investing with just interest, you're not at a loss. If you put up, the only thing you lost was time. If you put up $1,000, you gain $1,000 of interest. You take $1,000 of interest and you invest it into something else, and you lose $500. When you withdraw your money, you're still withdrawing $1,000 you put up to begin with. So the goal is to use your initial investment to gain enough interest so that you can use your interest to invest in more profitable things, so that you're generating money off of your original principal, and your interest is generating money as a new principal towards a different investment where your money is making more money for you. And as you start making a certain quantity of money, you're going to reach a level where you are satisfied with your monthly dividends. And that's when you're going to stop expanding your investments and start cashing out on your interest. And when you're cashing out on your interest, that's when you're going to start having to deal with taxes or investing the interest into something else where it blankets your money from taxation. And that's when you start pocketing profits and using debt to your advantage instead of working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 5 jobs so that you can catch up on your debt, so that you don't lose your assets because of your debt. When you're behind on bills, you're trying your best to manage and maintain, because there's a gap between how much you make versus how much you need. But when you're investing, it's reversed, and there's a gap between how much you make versus how much you need to spend, and you have to move that gap closer together so that you don't get taxed on it, because there's a quantity that you have to have taxed on, and if you exceed that quantity, you no longer have to pay taxes. It's a bunch of tax-free money, and as long as you're flipping money like that, then you're able to do what you got to do. So I appreciate you guys continuing to come into the show. Just remember that we are 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 5 Pacific. I encourage you guys to come into tomorrow's show, because we're going to really be talking about a lot of real estate and investing tips and tricks and market changes over the past 6 months that we can expect to see over the next 6 months. So if you missed out on today's show, definitely come to tomorrow's show and get you some knowledge. Like and subscribe. Even if you don't join the membership now, like and subscribe so that you can follow along with all of the rest of the shows, because we are live 7 days a week. And at some point, you will dive into the membership, because a lot of the information I'm going to relay to you guys is going to be exclusive to the membership. I'm going to be able to give you some overall tips and tricks and guidelines. But if you want the meat and potatoes behind it, if you want the nitty gritty behind it, the stuff that we can't talk about on the main public channel, we will be able to talk about in the private members only channel. So you guys got to like and subscribe, join the membership, and then come see all the goodies that we got for you guys. Not only memorabilia, but we also are going to have some advice and marketing tools and everything to that effect, financial investment tools that pretty much everybody who's anybody who wants to improve themselves and stop working for somebody else and start working for themselves and making money will be able to benefit from. So with that being said, I really appreciate you guys coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I will see you guys tomorrow night.